In the suits they filed before the court, the plaintiffs, 10 legal practitioners, are seeking an order of interim injunction restraining the Labour Party, its presidential candidate Mr. Peter Obi, his running mate Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, a fourth defendant, the national chairman of the party Julius Abure, their associates and loyalists from conducting the scheduled Obi Dati 23 for whatever rally on the 1st of October or any other subsequent date at the Lekki toll gate. The plaintiffs are also seeking an order of interim injunction restraining the Inspector General of Police, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, the Director General of the DSS and the Lekki Concession Company from allowing or granting permission to them for the said rally. In papers put before the court, they argued that the Obi Dati rally is predicated on the NSAS rally of 2020 and that failure to restrain the Labour Party and its supporters would amount to another display of great destruction to lives and property. For them, a repeat of the protest under the guise of Obi Dati rally will also result in a post-traumatic stress disorder for them and many other members of the public. At the proceedings on Wednesday, counsel to Peter Obi asked the court to allow him move his application, challenging the jurisdiction of the court to hear the injunction. The counsel to the plaintiffs, Romeo Michael, was however quick to object. He noted that the business of the day was to hear his application, which was ripe for hearing. The court agreed with him, especially as some other parties in the suit had not been served with a preliminary objection challenging the court's jurisdiction. In his ruling on the interlocutory injunction, Justice Daniel Osiago did not stop the planned rally. He, however, ordered that the Labour Party and its supporters cannot gather at the Lekki toll gates. The police was also ordered to ensure compliance with this order.
At the end of the day, parties agreed that the respondents, Peter Obi and supporters, should only pass through the Lekki toll gate and come to Falamo Bridge, but they should not converge at Lekki toll gate. So that was an impressive order. It's fair for everyone in this country, Nigeria.
In fact, for your information, on the 1st of October, the same rally will be taking place in the United Kingdom, in America, and all parts of the country. So it has nothing to do with the NSAS. These are the handwork of the political opponents of the Labour Party.
The court has adjourned hearing of the substantive suit to November 4th. Shola Shoyeli, Channels Television News.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, that story is our next pick this morning, and Monday Ubani, as you can see, joins us to discuss this. He is the chairman, section of Public Interest and Development Law Hospital of the NBA. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Ayo, thank you.
Exactly what do you make of this judgment? Speak to the legality and, should I say, the morality of it?
You know, the matter is still in court. I think the court adjourned to sometime in November. By that time, the matter would have become academic. It's much ado about nothing. Under the Electoral Act, you know, there is time for campaign. I think campaign kick-started yesterday. And I don't think any person has any power under our law to stop any of the political parties to hold rallies or to start their campaigns. This will be there. They've been doing this rally all over the country, but this is the first time a particular, certain persons, we want to go to court in order to stop them from proceeding on the rally on the basis of NSAS crisis.
Stopping the rally itself, or stopping the rally from holding at that particular location?
No, that was not the. They wanted to stop the rally completely. That any rally being held in honor of Obi Dati and all that is clearly a remembrance of what took place on 28th of October 2020, that is NSAS crisis. They didn't, that is also why I was wondering, was there any time they wanted to use Lekki Tollgate 1 as the venue for the rally? Was there any mention of remembering the NSAS incident that happened in 2020 with this particular rally? Was there any such announcement? And so I couldn't understand why people went to court, because they were now saying, oh, that holding Obi rally in Lagos is clearly a remembrance of what happened in 2020, and linking it, because they've been doing it all over the federation. And we didn't know of any linking it to NSAS anniversary or rally. It's purely a political process, and we're in a political era towards 2023, and they've been doing it all over the country. They did it in Abuja. I think I was in Abuja when that last Saturday when it took place. The policemen even guided them and all that. And it happened successfully, and nobody made reference to NSAS. So I don't know why coming to Lagos now, the issue of NSAS now become an issue. And meanwhile, those who led the NSAS crisis are not even the one who are involved in this rally that is taking place on 1st of October. You remember that there is a guy that even started the process. It's not even with the Labour Party. So I don't know how the link, comes about. But the point is much ado about nothing, because the judgment is to the fact that the rally will go on. But the only point is that you don't converge at Lekki Tollgate, yes.
But perhaps the suit and the judgment is on the strength of the fact that, that Lekki Tollgate has become a symbol of the agitation of Nigerian youths for justice, for fairness, good governance, good policing, and anything in the form of a rally that converges at that point could trigger, some of the sentiments of that time. But
that was not the intention of those who went to court. What they went to court, in order to ask the court to say, look, they shouldn't hold any rally at all, because the issue of holding the rally will remind, is linked to NSAS. They didn't mention, issue of that they want to use that particular place in order to, remind Nigerians of what took place. So there was no such thing at all. Yes.
I'm wondering, Mr. Ubani, how, because you've also often told us, you lawyers have often told us that the judge is not Santa Claus. He's not going to give you something you didn't ask for. So if they didn't have that in their prayers, how would the judge have ruled or given an order that they didn't ask for?
Yeah, that is a very intelligent question. I was also, I read whatever we have is from the newspapers. I have not been able to have the process that was filed by the parties. But going by the report, what they were asking for is that no rally should ever take place. Because if it does, they are going to have what they call post-traumatic distress order, based upon what happened in the NSAS crisis. And of course, when you talk about NSAS crisis, of course, Tollgate, comes to mind. There was no time they made a request that they should not converge at that point. So I don't know why the judge now had to say, oh, for the sake of the fact that you guys shouldn't converge there, you can pass, but you can't converge there. I don't know how that judgment come about. But the point is that the matter is still in court. Even though, as I said earlier, it's going to be pure academic, because by that time, the process would have taken place. But it's important we drive this further, even maybe up to Supreme Court. Can any person have the legal capacity to stop supporters from holding a political rally that is governed by Electoral Act? It's a constitutional issue. When election is coming, you have a right to hold rally all over the place. And it's even wrong for some states to deny access to certain venue to political rallies. They've been doing it over time, and it's been going on, probably nobody wants to, contest it. But this time around, they want to use the court to validate whatever they want to do. But the court now was saying, no, you can't even stop them. Rather, maybe if you are talking about the Lekki Tollgate, which was the symbol, let them not converge there. But as I said, they didn't ask for that. The court was now anticipating maybe they want to converge there, but you can pass through it. So to me, it's much ado about nothing, because there is nothing that has actually happened that have actually restrained them from going on with the exercise. The only point now is that don't converge, and I don't think there was any time they mentioned that they want to converge at Lekki Tollgate. I don't have that knowledge. I don't have that information. Or whether you do.
If that was part of their prayers,
yes.
Let's assume,
yes,
for the sake of argument, that was part of the prayers of the people who went to court, the plaintiffs on this matter. What's your take on that? Because just as Bukola said, perhaps the symbolism and the consequences that those people suffered mentally was the reason they went to court and said, Judge, please, whatever rally, it cannot be outlawed. I believe that the lawyers, have been 9 out of 10 of them, know that you can't stop anyone from holding rallies. You can't stop gatherings. But because of an antecedent of 2 years ago, they just thought, look, we suffered significantly on this, those of us who live in this axis. For our sakes and the sake of several others who suffered what we did, let's not do it.
You know, if you file a case in court, the other party has the right to respond by word, like they came by way of motion. There would have been a counter affidavit on the part of the defendant. But unfortunately, I don't think that took place because they were arguing that the court has no jurisdiction in the first place. They filed what they call preliminary objection, which the court say is not right for hearing because all the parties have not been served. So I would not want to go into the details of this Lekki toll gate. That it will remind you of 2020, because the defendant would have put in his own counter and said, look, that argument does not stand. One, the people that are holding this rally are not the people that held the Lekki toll gate incident. Yes, they are different persons entirely. And so there's no way you can now link what they want to do with respect of what took place in 2020. Are you following? But that counter affidavit was not there, because the lawyer was relying on preliminary objection that was not yet right for hearing. So if they have filed counter, the court now will now evaluate, the affidavit evidence and say, okay, I'm agreeing or I'm disagreeing. But that was not the case in this instance. So that's why I can't go deep into that.
And you have made an interesting point, Mr. Ubani, by saying that it's a non-issue.
Yes.
Much ado about nothing.
Yes.
Because Nigerians suffered trauma in many parts of Lagos.
Exactly.
At the heart of the NSAS protests, there were, the policemen were decimated. There were killings in some parts of central Lagos. So other plaintiffs could come up and go to court and seek to restrain political parties amid this campaign from holding rallies in other parts of Lagos. What are your thoughts on this, and how can frivolous suits like that be checked?
You see, when I was thinking about this particular case last night, I was saying, look, these guys are giving wrong narrative to what even took place in the NSAS crisis. You and I knew what happened. Why some of the young ones came up and said, no, we are against police brutality. We are against a situation where police will assume that I'm a criminal when he sees me on the road. Everyone is a Yahoo. No, everyone is entitled to his right. I'm entitled to respect a policeman that I see on the road. So also he's entitled to respect me. Even if I'm a criminal or I'm an accused person, what he does is to arrest me, investigate me, and then charge me to court. He doesn't have any right whatsoever to pronounce me guilty because I'm presumed to be innocent. So these guys said, no, we are against this. And government at that point in time listened. Shawolu himself, the governor of Lagos State, was even there addressing them and said, young men, cool down, this matter will be addressed. And then there was economic council meeting that held, and then panels were set up. I'm sure you are aware 2 or 3 days ago, millions of naira was recommended to be paid to those who were victims of the NSAS, brutality. Yeah. So let's not give a wrong narrative to NSAS crisis. It was an agitation of young ones who felt that this is not the way to run a nation. And government themselves at that time also felt that they were right. Even the president made a pronouncement and said we have disbanded SARS. So anyone now coming to give you a wrong narrative and all that, for the sake of historians, I will not buy into it. Maybe we'll come for another day, maybe on 20th of October, during the anniversary, we'll be able to talk about the narrative of what took place. It was something that is fundamental. It has to do with people's right. As saying government, you must be held accountable. You must be responsible. We are all human beings. You are there for us. You are there to, govern us and not to kill us. So any wrong narrative people are now giving to others about this NSAS crisis, I am not buying into it. And many Nigerians are not buying into it.
And if those suits arise,
yes,
can you trust the courts to strike them out on frivolous grounds?
In the first place, I wonder whether Federal High Court has jurisdiction over what was even brought before it. That particular case. Federal High Court has a limited jurisdiction under the Constitution, under Section 251. That matter, can Federal High Court even assume? That is one of the reasons those guys may have brought the preliminary objection. So there are matters that doesn't disclose course of action. You must show course of action. What are you trying to ask the court to do? What is your grievance? What is the issue of grievance? That somebody wants to do a rally, you now begin to make reference to NSAS crisis. It doesn't make sense to me. To me, it is much ado about nothing.
And wherever you turn, it may seem like there's an opposition to the Obi rally. In Ebonyi State, too, there was opposition to the rally, even though the governor denied it. So who are these 10 plaintiffs? You know, can they be interrogated such that we know the intents and purposes beyond what has been initiated in the court?
If you look at their reliefs, I mean, some of the things they said, you know, so they said the rally will remind them of the incident of the NSAS crisis in 2020, and it will make them to suffer what they call post-traumatic distress disorder. That's a very good language, you know. That's when I heard it, I was laughing. Post-traumatic stress disorder. That is what they said they will suffer, you know. So with the court, evaluate that medical condition, you know. Were there any medical report, you know, that was presented, you know, that gives an impression that they have suffered it at that time it happened, that they now will suffer it, you know, because it's post-traumatic. So honestly, to me, it's much ado about nothing. Their names have been known. He would have invited them anyway. The lawyers, you would have brought them to this particular program. So what is it that they want to achieve by that suit? Can they even stop a rally? As I said earlier, that has been provided for under the Electoral Act. It's a constitutional thing. We're in a process of election 2023. Would you have any right whatsoever to stop somebody today from holding election? I mean, from holding rally. Remember what happened in Ubani State. Their own is that they were brutal. But here they want to now use an institution, the court, to validate what they want to do. In Ubani State, it's condemnable. No person has any right whatsoever to stop any of the political rallies going all over the federation. APC has a right, PDP has a right, you know, LP has a right, all the political parties. Please let people know this and stop all this issue of making something that doesn't want any attention.
A quick one on this, Mr. Ubani, before we go. So the court has also ordered the police to enforce compliance to the order. In other words, the protesters, or well, the campaigners, cannot gather at Lekki Toll Gate, that they can pass through Lekki Toll Gate. The police has to enforce that. And as you've also said, the police is also responsible for providing security for those people who are campaigning.
That's right.
Given that the NSAS, they lose attachment of this case to NSAS, had something to do with the police. Are you able to get into the psyche of the average policeman who will have to obey this court order?
Yes, the Constitution, you know, gives them that responsibility to ensure protection of lives and property. Despite what happened in 2022, the policemen have been doing their duty. They've been doing their best in the country. And so I also saw them do that in Abuja and all over the federation where these rallies are. Even the political parties have kickstarted their rallies. Policemen will always be there to ensure lives and properties are secure. So asking them to do what the court has asked them to do is nothing that is abnormal. They will obey the court order, ensure that they also guide them. It's even good that police is even brought into the matter, you know, that they will now guide this particular rally on 1st of October to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order, to ensure that it's due compliance, that these people will not converge at Lekki Toll Gate. Fine. As I said earlier, I don't know whether they have intention to have done, they wanted to do that. That may not have been in their contemplation. But if it is within their contemplation, now the court order expressly says, don't go there. And so they must respect that court order. The police must ensure that safety of lives are protected. It's a very good development. You know, if you ask me, at the end of the day, the police now have been brought into the matter to ensure that it's orderliness and all that for the lives of you and I in Lagos.
We have to thank you very much. As you said, it's the beginning of conversations. The case is still in court. Let's see how it goes. Monday Ubani, Chairman Spidel of NBA, thank you so much for being a part of our
Thank you. It's a long time. I see you and seen my lovely sister.
Thank you.
Okay, well, the program has come to an end. I was hoping we'll be able to take a message or two. Clearly, we